It has been a long, hard climb to reach this point. The challenge, however, remains. No matter how complete the preparation, the end result, the ability to win the prize, to earn the applause of the crowd and the respect of the other members of the team, all rests on the performance itself. The judges have no memory. You will only ever be judged on today's performance.
The audience are all pilgrims who've come to worship at the shrine of British Airways. They're not voluntary pilgrims, they all work for British Airways. And this is a command performance. All day, the pilgrims have been arriving at this secular cathedral to have their egos massaged and their morale inflated, and to learn how to become missionaries for British Airways.
Here you are, Paul and Vivian.
They're here to be reminded that British Airways, in its privatized, glamorized new form, flies 25 million people to every corner of the world, and that in just 8 years, it's soared from bottom of the pack to one of the world's top half-dozen airlines, and that this year, city analysts predict, will show a profit of £350 million. This is the good news, the gospel according to BA. Bring us your bored and your dispirited, and we will preach them the religion of success. We will turn their lives into a mission to sell.
Together, we can be the best.
Good morning.
Good morning and welcome to Be the Best. Well, what you've just seen on the screen was only a lightning impression of the world of British Airways. But it does highlight the truly international character of the business that we're all in.
My name is John Pawsey, and I've worked with the company now for over 20 years.
And my name's Lynn Ponte. Well, I joined the airlines in 1975 as a stewardess.
Right, well, that's us, but you might not know who your immediate neighbours are, so we can put that right. Why not, just to be friendly, turn to the people around you?
They've flown in from every outpost to attend this revivalist meeting. Here, they'll learn how to polish up the company image so that they can go forth and charm the customers. At Heathrow's Terminal 4, operations centre for BA, the backroom staff are saving their charm. They may need it.
Good morning, everyone. We've got a couple of late arrivals, the 032. That's had hydraulic problems, but it is on its way. And the 296 has been diverted, but to be honest, I haven't...
Hundreds of flights will go smoothly today, but the duty team are bracing themselves for the few that won't. Already, there are storm warnings.
The red flights, the real danger ones we have to keep an eye on, they've oversold the 001 Concorde by 2 this morning. The 003 Concorde this evening, they've oversold by 12, and it did actually...
Overbooking is something all airlines do, sell more seats than they have to offer.
The Los Angeles flight is overbooked by 2 in first class, 7 in business class, and 70 in economy, and apparently yesterday 8 passengers did have to come off it. So I believe they're going to be running a voluntary offload scheme this morning on that, Anna.
Okay.
They calculate that 10% of their passengers won't show. But every now and then, everyone turns up. When that happens, they have to buy their way out of trouble.
What are we offering?
Well, I think 150 cash, 200 voucher.
By the end of today, you'll have a clearer idea as to why we're here. And why it is important that the company has this objective of being the best and most successful airline in the world. It's not just for British Airways success, but it's for our own individual success too.
Good afternoon, British Airways sales. May I help you?
British Airways reservations. Can I help you?
So smile down the phone. Remember that people can hear. They can hear the smile in your voice, and your enthusiasm will be contagious. So smile as you dial.
This is where the sales missionaries serve their apprenticeship. 1,100 smiling dialers, and each with a telephone manner designed to create instant intimacy with strangers.
Good afternoon, British Airways sales. Regina speaking. Can I help you?
Right, one moment, please. Can I just take your name?
And always use the caller's name. Remember that we all like to hear the sound of our own name, don't we?
My name is Yvette, by the way, Miss Roper.
Mrs. Bailey and Master Bailey as well.
In the name of Mr. Daisley. OK, my name's Vanessa. Can I ask who I'm speaking to?
Remember, whenever you give a piece of information to a customer, you must ask a question after it, because by doing that, it will help you to take the initiative.
Would you like me to book that for you?
But club class is, in fact, fully booked on that day. Can I offer you first class?
And remember that selling is simple. It really is. It's something that's quite natural, and if you think about it, you've been doing it since you've been a child.
Priority checking, so if you have to leave it till the last minute, that's no problem.
Children are the best salespeople because they don't take no for an answer.
The man in charge of this smiling task force, the head of world sales, arrived from New York 3 years ago and brought his sales philosophy with him.
Let's move to a concern, and that is the Concorde, where it's off 6% against target. You know, that's an expensive damn bird, so we can't afford not to get the loads we want on it.
Jim Keller is an American and a devout Catholic. He sells hard and prays hard.
I have a value system which is rather deeply religious, and many people follow their own gods, and the God that I follow basically said I came to serve and not to be served. So, you know, if you use that as a value system and a guiding system, then it becomes the most honorable profession. The promise that you made is not delivered, so where do we take it from here?
He believes that a good Christian is a good worker and axed over a quarter of his staff.
Make sure you go back to him, because I know you can't be on top of everything, but basically let him know you were embarrassed.
Charity may begin at home, but it ends in the workplace.
A good Christian is one who sells a product that has integrity. I would find it extremely difficult from my value system to sell anything that I did not believe in.
At the To Be the Best rally, the pilgrims are parading their belief in the power of the product and the truth of the word, until they have written in their hearts the doctrine that theirs is the world's favorite airline. But the customer may not be a believer, and British Airways may not be his favorite airline.
I requested somewhere away from smoking with a window. I didn't care where.
I know they're sort of in row 42.
And the smoke wafts way up there, and we're really quite sensitive to the smoke.
Yes, I understand that. If you bear with me for about 2 seconds, and I'll be back, and I'll see what I can do. Hold on to those.
Thank you.
Looking at the cream teas, this will be served on Manchester, Glasgow, Edinburgh and Belfast. You pass the British Midland one again, and you'll see for yourself the differences reflected in the costing. And probably
the man who revolutionized the new image, 35-year-old Mike Batt, is a working-class boy made good. His team are the new breed of airline executives. They don't know much about planes, but they know everything about marketing. Indeed, Mike Batt used to sell Mars bars.
Increases expectations and then fail to deliver. I mean, consumers are just going to say this is puffery, this is advertising, and it's not what we're paying for.
I think 15 years ago it was something if your neighbour had been to Spain on a package tour. Nowadays it's maybe Acapulco. So the quality expectations are changing, and if you want evidence of this, I mean, you don't have to look at the airline market. You can look at things like orange juice. It's moved from orange squash to orange concentrate to fresh orange juice, which just amazes me in Marks and Spencer's every Saturday just how much of this stuff is selling at very high prices.
Now, Mike Batt and his team are baiting their trap for the most brand-conscious customers of all.
From the market research, we're very clear who our passengers are. We know where they live, the sort of interior design that they have, standards that they're accustomed to, their type of drawing room, the sort of hotels they go to, racing and things, where they live, right down to how they dress. We want to make this cabin look more like a drawing room, less airline-y, really trying to pamper to their comforts and standards. So here we've got, working within the corporate palette, our grey, our red and our blue. We've got some options to look at here.
Grey, I think, is a lovely colour. I like the fact it gives us spaciousness. But
yes.
The BA design team are completely revamping first class, trying to steal the market for the tickets of the rich and famous.
I know this is a thorny subject, Amanda, but let's just take a second to look where we are currently with this red headdress cover. I mean, do you genuinely think that that is the best?
We have problems, don't we?
I know there's the pressure in the boardroom, but
yeah.
I think we should try and go for a crisp.
No, there's no doubt about it in my mind. I'd like to get rid of the red, and here I've just draped over with the new fabric this white, which picks up on the Regency stripe of the menus that we've got already.
Yes.
And I've spoken to Laundry. They say that they've got a new cleaning agent that they can use.
I think we should go and try and sell that one in. I'm happy to take that one upstairs. I think it's a vast improvement.
We fly over 20 million people every year. So even the smallest things that you want to change cost fortunes.
Is there anything we could do about the bins? I mean, can we bolt in some slightly larger bins here than the small ones we have on first class?
Yeah, but it's not a question of just bolting them in. You would actually have to strip out the whole cabin, go right back to the aircraft structure. So not only have you got a very expensive new bin to install, but you've got a significant out-of-service time that'll be weeks rather than days. Yeah.
$250,000 a day, we couldn't afford that, that's for sure.
If you just take domestic flights, where we fly about 5 million passengers, to put a single chocolate on the tray will probably cost you around about £1 million per year.
So this is our new first-class place setting. What do you think of it, Mike?
Yeah, I really like it, actually. It's very different.
Are there possible problems with the newer, larger-sized plate?
No, we've designed in a feature where the plate will override the saucer and avoid knocking it off the actual table.
Oh, I see, yes.
I like the glasses, though, but a bit worried about that stem. Would it be stable in turbulence?
I'd like to look at some trials of that actually handling in the unit, too, because of the potential breakage.
When you get into really fancy things like wash bags, you are talking about big money, 10, 11, 12 million pounds, just to give people a toothbrush and toothpaste and some freshen-up cologne. I mean, it really is big money.
They've turned themselves into a designer brand airline, offering the best of champagnes along with those other precious fluids with which the rich anoint themselves. To travel first class could cost up to 16 times more than the cheapest seats. But most passengers will never see first class, or even club. They'll travel economy, where the food is served in plastic boxes, where 30 seats were recently removed to allow club class to expand. And yet, 60% of the airline's revenue comes from its economy fares.
It'll be 7:35 local time.
Any questions travelling to Los Angeles?
No, we're going to Detroit.
Los Angeles passengers?
Back at Terminal 4, there's a problem with that oversold flight. They've got more bodies than they have seats.
Are you travelling to Los Angeles, ladies?
Anybody travelling to Los Angeles?
Yep.
You are, sir. Could I just have a couple of minutes of your time?
Oh, I think I've got nothing else to do.
Good morning. This morning, British Airways have a rather overbooked flight on their Los Angeles 283.
That means we've actually sold more reservations than we have seats on the aeroplane.
Right.
And there could be a possibility that we do not have enough seats for passengers.
Now, basically, this means we're looking for passengers who would be prepared to travel on a later flight today.
For this inconvenience, we offer you cash of £150 or £225 as a travel voucher, which is valid for 1 year.
And then you get an American Airlines connection, which would get you into Los Angeles at 8:50 in the evening, local time. And you can make £150.
No, I don't think I can't afford the time, actually.
It's really up to you as to whether you make a decision. There's no pressure involved.
Can't do it. I happen to be in Los Angeles.
Okay.
No, I think I would rather prefer this flight.
You would?
283.
All right then, sir. Okay, thank you very much.
This is round one in the campaign to persuade passengers to miss their flight. Not surprisingly, there are few takers.
So that's for a couple of hours delay, and you could make £300 in cash.
Does that apply to promotional fare tickets?
Could I see your tickets? Have you got
Well,
them
actually,
there,
it's
sir?
a freebie.
It's a free ticket.
It's
No, unfortunately it wouldn't. Not for free tickets, no. You would have done it otherwise, wouldn't you?
I sure would have.
Meanwhile, not far from Heathrow, a dedicated BA sales team takes to the road. Inside that car, it's a pressure zone.
What's the pressure like?
Debbie is on trial.
Pressure is on at the moment.
Tony is her judge.
It's really very busy this month, and the pressure's certainly on from...
Debbie's new to sales, and today she's in the front line. She could be a winner or a casualty, like those who were axed.
There were very good people, and there were mediocre people, and there were people that I call always like to operate in the comfort zone. They're the majority of people. The ones in the comfort zone are the ones that worry me the most, because they're the type of ones who will do enough to satisfy an acceptable level of performance, but never stretch high enough so, in case that next year you come back and ask for more. We must commit to a level of performance that is just excellence. I hope nobody will associate me with being somewhat of an autocratic general, but I am demanding. And when people sign on, I expect them to perform.
Debbie's about to learn where the comfort zone ends. At what's known as a curbside conference, she's being primed for her target.
Okay, very important that you listen and you don't interrupt, okay?
Right, yes,
You've been working on that.
Yeah,
Make sure that
I've been trying.
listen. Good, good. Because I know you're enthusiastic and I want to keep that there, but make sure that you're taking all the information in.
Right.
Listening to them, give them good eye contact.
Mm-hmm.
That way, you can also relate to them their understanding that you are listening as well. And it's really important in the event of taking away information and reporting it back to me.
Right, yes,
okay?
fine. Okay, appreciate that.
Right, okay, let's go and do it.
Yeah.
The target is a travel agent, vital to their success because agents handle 80% of all sales.
Looking at the Australia and New Zealand figures, so we can see they are slightly down for the year to date.
The competition on that particular route is becoming very fierce. Singapore Airlines have got a direct service.
This is the classic sales triangle. Debbie holds eye contact with the agent, as instructed, while her judge marks her card.
Yes. The number one priority has to be speed and on-time airlines. Yeah. That's numero uno.
We are all highly accountable, and we have the statistics to prove it. And we have to justify our position as to what we are doing and why we are doing it, and account for the result, whether it be good or whether it's bad.
If I fail, if I do not produce the results, which is what failure would be really in the eyes of sales management, then I would be moved. I wouldn't necessarily be moved from the airline, although that's not impossible. I would be moved to another area where perhaps I wouldn't have such an influence on the revenue, which at the end of the day is the bottom line for BA of profit or loss.
In front of the directors of the company, we go through the revenue performance and the cost performance. And I've got to get up every month and justify the fact that I either made the revenue target or I didn't. And if I didn't make it, I'd better have a lot of good reasons why I didn't.
Well, quite simply, we're in a tough business, which is changing constantly. And our survival depends on our ability to respond to those changes together.
Our product is our staff. And it's not like having a bar of soap or whatever on a shelf which stays there till somebody buys it. If our people don't feel motivated and good about working for British Airways, then our products will stink. If they feel good and motivated and they're proud of what they serve, then our products will be the best. And that's the real challenge in terms of marketing in a service industry.
Good afternoon, Mr. Nixon. What wine would you like with your main course?
May I have a glass of claret, please?
We have a very nice Chateau La Rose Trentadon.
Trentadon.
Would you like to try a little?
Peter Nixon, former cabin steward, turned himself into an expert on wines. Now he's the airline's full-time wine inspector, the only one in the business.
Is that okay for you, Mr. Nixon?
Well, I hope it's all right. It's one I helped you choose. I'm frequently told, my word, you must have the best job in the airline.
Thanks very much. Okay.
And to a great extent, it's true.
In 1986, BA were voted the worst airline for wines, 19th out of 19. But just 2 years later, they were voted best.
There's absolutely no doubt that your perception of wines, once you get up at 35,000 feet, is totally different. I think we've done a good job there. The fruits and the balance of a wine are diminished, and the tannin and the acidity are accentuated. And we have to be very careful when we buy wines for the airplane. Now, this wine is one that, when we first tasted it, was very good, but I must admit, I don't like the colour there at all. And in fact, the smell is awful. Well on the way towards oxidation. I most definitely would not want to see that in front of any of our passengers. That is awful. The fact that you pay a lot of money for a wine doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be good in the air. This Veuve Clicquot, I'm very, very keen to try it. We were very pleased with it on the ground. A rival airline are flying 82 Bollinger, and I've heard that it's really not drinking terribly well at 35,000 feet. But this Veuve Clicquot Croissanat 82. Yeah, that's a lovely wine.
Yeah, the first class passengers definitely like the vintage champagne.
Oh, that's horrid. It's quite horrid. Let's try another case. Oh. It's gone flat already. This is, what, from Bahrain. When did this one come back?
February, Peter. No, no good?
No. Chuck them away.
Okay, please.
What a waste. 1,300 bottles of champagne. Chuck them away.
So what do we think of this airline of ours? Well, this is the open forum session. This is where you get your chance to say what you think about the present standing of British Airways at the moment. Just for a starter, though, are we the world's favourite airline? Yes, OK. Thanks, Leslie.
I think the service now on board the aircraft is a lot better. I mean, a lot of passengers have commented how much it's improved, but I think we need to be a lot more punctual.
This is going to be a real one for you now. Any competitors that you think are better than us? Yes. Beverly, you put your hand up. Which airline do you think was better than British Airways?
On the short haul side of things, their service in the cabin is just incredible in comparison to ours. They've concentrated a lot on the business passenger, and they give everybody in economy a hot meal, a really nice tray. The girls are just nice new uniforms, things like that. They're just better.
That's a knock-on, really, on Club Europe product, the Club Europe product. Just as a show of hands again, who thinks that's a good service that we offer? No one. OK, let's pick this one up from Catherine.
I operated out of Heathrow for 6 months, and the difference was amazing. At Gatwick, aircraft are late, the equipment isn't up to standard, there's no waste aircraft, so you get onto a 747 and it's a different service every time.
Almost every trip, and I think I can speak for most flight crew, we have to absorb some sort of technical delay. We really must get the technical problems sorted out, because let's face it, that's the most important thing that the passenger wants, is punctuality.
Thank you, Nick, indeed.
We'll be having a look now at some of British Airways' key competitors.
We've put a lot of time and effort into winning more business. There are many airlines out there that are chasing that same business. We're certainly not alone.
Every airline tells you how comfy its business class seats are. Punctual and reliable. Lufthansa. Continental Airlines. Now over here to take you over there. Virgin Atlantic's upper class to Miami and New York. The reliable airline. Airline, the airline of paradise. With Qantas connections, you won't make a blunder down under. Olympic Airways is a little piece of Greece at 37,000 feet.
Fleet of the biggest, most advanced 747s in the world. The big top 747. But that's not what you'll remember us for. Singapore girl, you're a great way to fly.
All the major airlines insist that their service is the finest, but Singapore Airlines consistently come top of the travellers' polls.
I've tried most airlines, and still this outshines the rest. Everybody on board puts a lot of effort into the small detail of making my time on board easy.
They make the passenger feel very much at ease and very much at home in the air.
Always very pleasant, always charming. They always remember my name, and that's the nice thing about it.
Certainly to the European man, the Oriental girl is very attractive, yes.
The other major airline flying the British flag have got better over the years, but they still give me the impression they're in business more for themselves than for the customer.
Also on board is the man from British Airways.
Of coffee or tea?
I'll just take some coffee, please.
Coffee.
Is it a business trip, or is it espionage?
I mean, it's a case of I have to get to Singapore. This is the most convenient schedule for me this time, and it's interesting to see how they're doing things compared to us, but researching is probably a bit too strong a word for it. Just put it there, it'll be fine. Every airline has some character, and these have a character all their pleasant, very nice. Of course, very different to us.
There's no doubt about it. It's a very strong selling proposition.
Although not one of the big carriers, Singapore Airlines is acknowledged by its rivals as the leader of the field. And no one's come up with a counter to Singapore Girl.
Singapore Girl is essentially
Mystique, romanticism, the mystery of the East. There's a whole bundle of things. It depends on who you are. We do know it is a strong marketing message.
You're being a bit mealy-mouthed about this, aren't you? What we're talking about is exotic sex, isn't it?
I wouldn't say that.
What, Miss Singapore Girl is not exotic sex?
Well, I would say that it's they're marketing on the civility of the image, and how you interpret that is up to you.
So the civility of the image is how you would describe a beautiful woman in a sarong?
Well, I would say the style. And everything that goes around it, you know, people's beliefs of the East, which is a very gentle, very relaxed environment where individual needs are, if you like, pampered. What you have is this paragon almost of elegance, style, civility, which is something that no other airline worldwide can really ever copy.
Because there's about 1.5 spacing in between two eyes. So
at home base in Singapore, the airline has its own charm school, where gentle Orientals are turned into a businessman's fantasy.
On the inner corner of the eye, and then a lighter color on the outer corner.
Why couldn't British Airways do the same? Right. I think we've got far stronger selling propositions within the airline, and that's the professionalism caliber of our staff.
For those girls who have almond eyes, you could apply shadow slightly higher, and that will make your eyes look rounder, bigger, all right? Round eyes normally give you the kind of very bright look, okay? Very alert. Almond eyes will give you a sort of a very sleepy but sexy look.
It's a marketing possibility that really we wouldn't see as being relevant to us. I mean, I don't think you'll ever see us marketing British Airways Girl.
005 for Tokyo. If I run with a passenger to the gate with a bag, do you think you'd be able to take her?
For most airline staff, the job's not about glamour, but about handling problems.
Hi. No, it's too late. We can get you on the 3:30 flight to Tokyo and probably get you a connection back to Osaka.
Right. Why were you so late, sir? I was told to go to Terminal 3. You were told to go to Terminal 3?
Oh, you went to the wrong terminal.
Yes.
A more serious problem is that overbooked flight.
Right, Rach, what's the update on the LA now?
Basically, Anna, we only have 19 seats available in the system. And I would think within 5 or 10 minutes we can have passengers coming up on standby. What I suggest is that we brief the staff and we will deal with them accordingly.
Should we be doing something better? Are we just sort of sitting back at the moment and relying on our reputation? What can we be doing that's better?
What they've decided to do that's better is to make life more comfortable for the already comfortable. The airline's about to launch its remodeled deluxe version of first class, and for the occasion it's entered what could be called its Romanesque period, with a display full of heroic symbolism. A gladiator's severed arm, a tartan toga disguised as a traveling rug, a dinner set embedded in the lava of Pompeii, and a sort of briefcase by caesarean section. A cynic might say that it symbolizes the £24 million BA are spending on first class, but this imposing forum is only a public relations facade.
Yes.
Even the chief executive seems confused.
We better explain the setup
we
have here. It doesn't quite look like a first-class compartment.
Oh, no, not this time. No, the mock-up's been left back at the base.
Right.
What are you going to charge these passengers? What's the increase going to be?
As much as we can. As much as we can, is the answer.
We're in business.
Great value for money.
Yes. Which it is. I mean, there's been nothing like this.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to welcome you to this preview of the new British Airways first-class service.
Now the chief executive, Sir Colin Marshall, and his co-pilot brace themselves to do their duty as public
I will
speakers.
now hand you over to Mike Batt to take you through the new first-class service.
They're about to amaze the assembled guests with their off-the-cuff fluency.
A little about the thinking behind the new product. Standards of service are not easy to measure. A first-class service must offer comfort, luxury, style, privilege, and above all else, excellence. We all recognize these qualities when we see them. However, providing them, even defining them...
When the new first class finally reaches the customer, BA has its own inspector on board.
I'd like to get a bit of feedback from you. What do you think about service?
I think it's terrific. I've been flying BA for 13 years, and big difference 13 years ago. It's a new airline.
You've seen some changes in that time.
I went out of my way not to fly BA 13 years ago. I go out of my way to fly them now.
May I offer you some soup?
I like some mulligatawny as well.
I think when you spend the extra money to fly first class, little amenities make a big difference. The cutlery, the glassware is all new. It's fun. I mean, you're stuck on an airplane for 10 hours. Why not have a good time?
It comes down to a trade-off in the fact we either spend the money and we accept there's probably higher breakages on that sort of glass. It costs about £300,000 a year just to provide freshly squeezed orange juice.
Are you serious?
Absolutely serious.
Okay, you're welcome.
What about the meal? Have you found that to be good, or...?
I find it the same as most airline food. I don't find a lot of difference between airline food. I think given the limitations of the galley and etc., you can't serve fabulous food on airlines.
How do you think British Airways compares to other airlines?
Average, I would say.
What would be your first choice? And do you fly one airline more than another?
Yeah, I think Singapore is... The food seems to be consistently, you know, cut above any other.
Is it the potatoes?
I don't fly so I can eat. Okay. I fly so that I can get someplace else to eat.
Caviar on a plate, please.
Welcome back, and I hope you enjoyed your lunch. The company has one main stated objective, which is to be the best and most successful airline in the world.
Halfway around the world, British Airways missionaries are spreading the good word.
Welcome to Winning with People.
The Gospeller has been sent to the Caribbean to preach the true faith to the staff of other airlines, like Air Jamaica, an airline that's one of BA's junior partners.
If you like, here in Jamaica, we still would like to get that consistency right the way across the globe, so that a person in Narita, say, in Japan, gets the same consistency of service as they do here in Jamaica. What essentially is the real difference between us and other airlines? What is the difference? It is, isn't it?
The scenery changes, the sermon remains the same.
It's what makes us, if you like, the favourite airline in the world, the service.
The mission here is to bring the Jamaicans up to British Airways standards. They're teaching the descendants of colonial servants how to serve.
What about other nationalities that visit Jamaica? Who are the people who sort of, you find maybe a little different from ourselves in terms of customer service, their expectations?
New Yorkers believe they have to be aggressive to get what they want. In other words, not to be stepped over or pushed around.
They think that the dollar is very important, and as long as they can pay for service, they must be rude.
When you're being polite, they think you're wasting time. They're hurrying you along, you know?
Even their speech is quite quick, isn't it?
Very.
What other nationalities come here?
Africans of certain countries in Africa, I find that you have a problem with. It's like they have a chip on their shoulder. And no matter how nice you are to them, they feel... One has actually turned around and told me that it's because of my color. And I mean, I am not white.
I find the Indians, they doubt you, everything. They like to double-check every fare that you quote them. Yeah, they watch everything that you do, and they go from one agency to the other agency to compare fares.
They will quote the fare for you.
Okay, then. What about the British? What are we like? Stiff upper lip and all that? Rah, rah? Are we frightfully?
Awfully polite. I had a passenger traveling Montego Bay, Miami, London. And when I said to the gentleman, may I collect $40 for your departure tax? He said, thank you very much.
The long arm of BA's head salesman, hirer and firer Jim Callery, reaches even to the Caribbean. And Dawn Weller, head of sales for Jamaica, feels the pressure.
Whereas previously a sales rep was told to just go around, deliver brochures, be a nice public relations person, and if you made targets, then it would have been great. Now, the bottom line is, you are given these specific targets and you must achieve them. If you don't, then you have to give an explanation why you did not achieve it, and that better be good. Hello, Peter, how are you?
How are you?
Nice for you to see me this morning. Peter, I don't want this to go on much longer than it has to, so can I ask you to please put your calls on hold so that we can get right down to what we have to talk about? No problem. Thank you.
I visited all the regions, and I basically said to them that this is my culture, that I believe I have to lead a winning team, and I must have a winning team.
I've looked at my figures again for year to date as they come to us from our head offices, and you are down again. In fact, you are now at a number 4 position. Right, so you recognize that if you continue at this rate, you could keep slipping. I want you to explain to me, why is this happening? It is down to you to motivate your staff to sell BA. You know, too often we sit and we wait for things to happen, but how much do your staff know about the product, and how much do you motivate them to sell BA? Why should they sell BA as opposed to another carrier? You have to look at that. You know, what are you doing about that?
No, I'll be honest with you, I think that 85%.
Well, there we have the British Airways facts and figures. Did anyone notice anything interesting there? Yes, that's it. Being British is seen as both a strength and a weakness.
The passengers never see behind the scenes at Terminal 4 check-in. Here's where the final decisions are made about where passengers will sit or if they'll travel at all. It's the toughest job in the airline.
He wants to stay in business class.
I've got 27 people in my party trying to get on British Airways. 2 of the party were rejected.
Let's just have a look, sir.
What has happened today is the flight has been oversold. In respect, we have more reservations than we have seats.
It's got to a situation now where we've run out of seats that are not actually allocated to passengers. The only ones that we've got left are the seats that have been allocated to passengers. At a certain stage of the day, we release those seats for the passengers that haven't shown up, and then we unload the passengers like...
For any chance we have the situation where there are no seats, and I must tell you there could be a situation where we have no seats for you, we would pay you compensation and take you to Philadelphia on a later service today.
In just a few minutes from now, the check-in staff will know how many people they'll have to stand down from that overbooked flight and how many angry passengers they'll have to confront.
I'll put them forward. I can put them forward.
I have to make a note of it because I've got nothing at the moment. He wants non-aisle, does he?
Not really fast.
Just an aisle, just a non.
So what I suggest to you, sir, I will give you a voucher now for some tea and coffee and biscuits. You go to the cafeteria and return to desk number 28 at 11:15.
You know, we're going to line up again and just...
No, if you just wait here when you come back, we will actually call you by name when the seats are available.
But it involves 6 different flights. We're going to Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, Miami, Philadelphia.
Okay, I can't actually give you a seat for the moment, but I'll give you a voucher where Mr. and Mrs. Gallagher can go and get themselves a cup of tea.
I'm not interested in that.
British Airways flight number BA293 to Miami. Will all remaining passengers please...
Now, the one flight that we did worry about, and we did the voluntary offload scheme on, has cleared, and our 15 volunteers are now going to Los Angeles. But the 219, that's the Philadelphia, that's going to cause us a problem now because we're running rapidly out of seats.
The offloads 219.
Hello?
What's the possibilities of upgrades? Any chance?
Just give me 2 seconds, can I just answer this phone? I'll be right with you. Hello?
Window at the moment.
I think stand by. Hold on a second. How many have you got? Hello, it's a family of 5 on standby. Oh, good news. Right, hold on a second.
Yeah. I just checked in
Do you want to release some seats, Rich?
Yeah.
Closes in 5 minutes.
Yes, release the seats, please.
Just hold on, I'm just going to release some seats and I'll have to put them on. Just bear with me. They probably will be all over the place, but they will be on.
I'm the tour director and a travel agent for 26 years, and I've always used British Airways. But if that's your new policy, I want you to tell the chairman of the board that I'm very upset, and so will my travel company be upset.
Sir, it's not a new policy. It has actually been going on for a long time. We overbook our flights by a certain percentage, and this, unfortunately, is the situation. I can sympathise with you. I've worked here for 4 years now, so you tend to let these situations go in of one ear and out of the other, so I can cope with it. What I'll do is I'll put that you're a group into the computer so that you'll be one of the first to get away, all right? But at the moment, I can't do anything for you. That's why I've offered you a voucher so that you can go and get yourself a cup of tea whilst you're waiting, because it's pointless you're actually standing here.
Because I haven't come across the standbys on the Philadelphia yet. I don't think they'll be very happy, but we'll do all we can for them.
We have people who have prepaid for their seats and now are being told they may not get out today, and we got a bloody voucher that's worth about tuppence.
We've had a lot of views this morning, but there's always one person that we should listen to with particular care, and that's the customer. Remember, wherever you work in the airline, there's always a customer looking over your shoulder.
Well, I'll give them 8 out of 10, and if they gave us free wine as well, I'll give them 9.
I am very upset with British Airways.
British Airways is very much like the current say, good and bad and part.
The food was absolutely diabolical. There's no other word for it.
I'm a Catholic and we don't eat meat on Good Friday, and it was a chicken roll.
It was burned solid to the plate.
British Airways is very good on long-distance flights. On short distance, very expensive, but we're not getting the service we want.
Lady assured me that we'd have the seats. Again, today they don't have the seats. I wanted even validated up to first class. They won't even allow me to do that. So I'm at their mercy. But British Airways won't get any more of my money.
I'll never fly anything else.
Well, our customers certainly let us know what they thought about us there. That Texan gentleman ain't going to give us any more of his money.
The pilgrims have spent the day learning how to be the best. But the best at what? At selling tickets? At pleasing the shareholders? Or at truly satisfying the customer?
Hello?
I've been looking at this 219
Yes.
Philadelphia.
Have you got anybody you'd like upgraded?
When economy class overflows, they put a chosen few in first or business class. But only the clean and smart make the shortlist.
They can go up to business class and they're quite suitably dressed.
Lovely. 2 more. I've got 2 other seats. Is that any good?
Well, what about the 2 gentlemen who've got onward connections?
Right, OK.
Oh, hang on a minute. I can't put one of them up. He's wearing shorts.
Right.
So, put one up, Mr.
We've got people who've paid a lot of money to sit in club class or first class. They don't particularly want to sit next to somebody with bare feet and shorts. We will put SFU, suitable for upgrading, in an information part in the computer saying, are they SFU? Let us know, and then we'll do something about it.
Are you going to find me another one?
How about Mr. Milligan? He looks OK to me. I can just see him over the counter.
All right. That'll leave us 16 there, not going.
I'm full now.
219, that's Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. Passengers Horsfells, Scapale, Gaudry, Halliday, Brennan, Radine, Hoffman, McCormick.
The passengers whose names are being called out think that they've made it, that they're on the flight. They're wrong.
I'm afraid the flight is completely full. If you'd like to come over here, I will tell you the outlets that we're offering you and the compensation.
We have it,
I'm afraid you haven't made it. The flight is completely full.
First class all booked?
The whole flight, sir. First class, business class, all the ones that I called, the flight is full. You will not be travelling on this service, I'm afraid.
The customer service manager is left to explain the mess.
I guess it's a necessary evil. It's common practice among airlines. Our inventory management people are extremely skilled at knowing how far we can oversell a flight. 9 times out of 10, those flights clear. We saw the Miami today, 69 overbooked in economy, or everybody got away. We would not make any money or break even if we didn't oversell.
And if you can tell me whether you want like the cash or the voucher, and I can then arrange for all your onward connections, your bookings and your seats and such like.
I think they've taken it a bit far on some of the flights because you get day after day 100 and odd being overbooked. There's no way that they're going to clear.
What about connections out of Philadelphia? Someone's got connections out of Philadelphia.
Connections out of Philadelphia, we will upgrade at reservations. That will be done automatically. If there are no reservations that we can get you to your destination this evening, it'll be a night stopping at a hotel at British Airways expense in Philadelphia and then transferring on in the morning.
Would you now please welcome our Chief Executive, Sir Colin Marshall.
The pilgrims are about to receive a benediction from the man responsible for the airline's new philosophy. The man from Hertz Car Rentals, who showed a British airline how to operate and how to sell the American way.
Good afternoon, everyone. My apologies for the ground traffic delays which were enforced upon me today. We all get used to air traffic control and hearing about that. One tends to sometimes overlook the ground traffic problems.
I bought these tickets 4 months ago. It's wrong.
I totally agree with you, sir.
It's
but
wrong.
All airlines overbook.
Oh, it's wrong. What you buy the ticket in advance? Miles come in and standby.
Well, what happens, sir, is the airlines overbook because they have at least a minimum of 10% no-show. Today, everybody has turned up.
Well, yesterday, so that you can make a little bit more profit.
Well, you could look at it like that, but what
I'm
happens?
not looking at it like that. That's a fact, isn't it? Just because you want to make some more profit.
No, not really, sir.
You are
what compensation
overselling
will we get?
Because
so you can.
Yeah, what's the compensation?
The compensation will be £150 cash each, or a travel voucher of £225.
I wouldn't like to be in their shoes. But then again, for some passengers, and they're not in an immediate urgent rush to get somewhere, it's ideal because at the end of the day, they get extra pocket money. If I had a family of 4, that would be ideal. £600 is great, extra spending money, but some people obviously have got commitments and have got to get there.
All I need to know now is who wants the voucher and who wants the cash. If you all want cash, I can deal with that quicker.
A day that began with a call to service has ended in a scramble for money. Perhaps that says something about the new Britain, or has the very concept of service been redesigned?
Service is not just being subservient. It's emulating, shall we say, a religion. I happen to believe in a God who said, I came to serve and not to be served. So if you believe in that, then service is the most honorable profession that anybody could be in.
There always has been a mystique and a romance about aviation, but in terms of the principles of satisfying your customers, I mean, there's really no difference in selling airline seats to selling chocolate bars, or selling anything else for that matter.
Well, we hope you found today enjoyable and that we've given you a few things to think about. But if you'd like to look at the video wall one final time, perhaps the last word today should come from our chairman, Lord King.
There is no doubt in my mind that
the pilgrims can hold their heads high. They know they work for an airline that's thrown off mediocrity and joined the ranks of the most profitable. But is it now in danger of forgetting service in the pursuit of money?
I sometimes think that in Britain we've become shy of success. I'm not shy of it. We have a clear ambition. We want British Airways to be the best and most successful airline in the world, because I believe it will be good for our passengers, it will be good for our shareholders, it will be good for the people who work for us, and it will be good for the people of Britain. What's wrong with that?